How many of us realize that the top 1% of wealthy Americans hold a combined total of about $500 trillion? Best estimates I was seeing were between 492 and 550 trillion. Once you get into numbers that astronomical, it gets pretty hard to actually narrow it down. And then the bottom 50% of Americans own a combined total of $4 trillion. 550 to 4. If we were to tax the top 1% of their accumulated wealth, that would generate $5 trillion in tax revenue. $5 trillion to do whatever you want with. Buckets of bombs, babysitters for all, or going back down to a 20-hour work week like we did back when America was great in the post-war boom. Now on the other side of this, why not tax the bottom 50%, 1% more? What difference would that make? That is only $40 billion of revenue. 0.4 compared to the 5 trillion. That's like $5 bill compared to having 40 cents. To put this in another perspective, if we had a warehouse with 100 people, one asshole has $500. The poorest 50 of us in the warehouse have a combined total of 40 bucks. If we're planning a pizza party, is it we're going to have a better pizza party taxing the one asshole 1% of his $500 that he has? Or scraping together a couple cents from the bottom 50? Now the other catch with this that we've got to recognize is how much more than simply 1% tax increase are we going to have to increase to make up that difference between the $40 billion of revenue that the bottom 50 can generate at 1% tax compared to the $500 trillion at 1% that the 1% have. So the other consideration for this is how much more is the bottom 50% of America going to have to be taxed to make up that difference from 40 billion to $5 trillion. Are you going to be taxed 10% more? 20% more? 50% more? To make up that difference, because guess who's writing the tax code? And why would they ever want to give away even 1% of their wealth?